Welcome to today's explainer. Get ready because we're embarking on what I'd call the ultimate journey, taking you from an absolute beginner to a fully hired professional Python developer. We're going to map out the exact progression you need to take, leaning into real-world projects and proven strategies to actually get you there.
It's the question on literally every aspiring coder's mind, right? How do you actually go from writing that very first hello world to landing a real developer job in 2026? Look, it can feel like this impossible leap, but it's really just a series of deliberate, structured levels. Okay, let's dive into this.
Here's our literal map for today. We're looking at 5 exact levels to unlock: Python's building blocks, writing your first scripts, the beginner portfolio, next-level Python projects, and finally, cracking the interview. All right, level 1, Python's building blocks, laying the foundation. You've got to treat learning Python just like constructing a house. You simply can't build the roof before you pour the concrete, and that concrete is your basic syntax. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it breaks down some of the complex data structures from the real Python cheat sheet into an easy visual analogy. Take lists and tuples. They both hold data, but lists are mutable. It's like an open box where you can freely add or remove items, like apple or banana. Tuples, on the other hand, are immutable. Once you pack that box with numbers, it is completely taped shut, no changes allowed. And honestly, knowing when to use that open box versus the sealed one, that's the mark of a truly good developer. And, when you're in this foundational stage, you absolutely need authoritative resources. Real Python is hands down one of the best places learners should go to deeply master the syntax. Their cheat sheets and deep dive tutorials, they will literally save you countless hours of frustration when you're trying to figure out variable assignments, loops, and data types. Moving right along to level 2, writing your first scripts, from theory to practice. This is the fun part, where you actually start commanding the computer. Of course, you'll have to do the required hello world initiation ritual. I think that's legally required for all coders at this point. But after that, you need to hit the magic number, which is 50. According to HeroVired, practicing 50 fundamental programs, we're talking things like checking for odd or even numbers or finding palindromes, is what actually builds true fluency and muscle memory. Let's break down how simple math creates some pretty powerful scripts. Say you want to reverse a number or find an Armstrong number. It's really just 3 steps. Step 1, you use modulus 10, which just finds the remainder, to extract that last digit. Step 2, you multiply and add to your newly reversed sequence. And step 3, you use integer division by 10 to just chop that digit right off the original number. You loop this logic, and boom, you're thinking computationally. Okay, level 3, the beginner portfolio, building real-world skills. You've got the syntax down, you've got the logic. Now you're totally ready to build practical, fun projects that employers actually look for. A fantastic starting point here is the classic Mad Libs game from Coursera, and this brilliantly illustrates how prompting a user for nouns and verbs to spit out a hilarious story teaches you vital string manipulation and user input. It's super engaging too. From there, you level up to something like tic-tac-toe. Now, I know it sounds super simple, just X's and O's, right? But you're actually developing highly employable skills here. You're managing 2D arrays, handling game state management, designing immutable classes, and even working with generic plugin architecture. You're basically learning the whole shebang of complex software architecture through a child's game. Next up in that beginner portfolio really needs to be a to-do list app. The Mima learning platform pushes this project heavily, and there's a really good reason for it. It teaches vital data flow. Users add, remove, and update tasks. And it forces you to write basic error checking, like, hey, what happens if a user tries to delete a task that doesn't even exist? Real-world companies rely on this exact same logic every single day. Which brings us to level 4, next-level Python projects, high-value tech. This is where you've unlocked the next tier, moving away from simple games into complex, high-value tech projects. This is the stuff that gets recruiters to actually respond to your emails. Take a full-stack Django e-commerce app from Mimo. Look at these skills: database management, user authentication, shopping carts, payment processing, deployment basics. These aren't just neat features. These are the exact web development concepts tech companies are actively hiring for right now. If you can build this, you can bring serious value to a business. Or if you want to lean into the AI space, get this: 100,000. That is the massive number of images required to train the Mimo AI image classifier, just to spot the difference between real photos and AI-generated ones.
Working on a project like this is huge. It teaches you exactly how to handle massive data sets and utilize libraries like TensorFlow. And the rabbit hole goes even deeper. You could build a spam email detector using a naive Bayes approach, or a Python chatbot using natural language processing libraries like NLTK and Keras, or maybe a stock price predictor using time series data. These projects introduce some incredibly complex deep learning and NLP concepts, but they do it in a way that's totally accessible step by step. Finally, level 5, cracking the interview, the final boss battle. This is where you take everything you've built and prepare for the ultimate test, the technical job interview. Interviewers are going to test your efficiency and optimization, usually using Big O notation. Let's pit some of these searching and sorting algorithms against each other. A linear search takes O of n time, meaning you slowly check every single item one by one. But a binary search, that takes O of log n time. It's drastically faster because it splits the data in half, though the catch is it only works on sorted arrays. Bubble sort takes O of n squared, which is painfully slow for large datasets, whereas quicksort uses a divide and conquer strategy to achieve O of n log n. They aren't just testing if you can write code, they want to see if you know how to make it fast.
But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a powerful thematic anchor for this whole journey. Henry Emesiter, the COO of Memo, said employers care less about project size and more about whether you can explain how you built it and why. So the crucial point is this: a fully understood, clearly explained, simple to-do list app will absolutely beat a massive, complex AI project that you just copy-pasted from a tutorial. Own your code. Understand every single line.
The journey from absolute beginner to a hired Python developer is a big one, for sure, but it is entirely possible. The tools are free, the roadmap is totally clear. So the only question left is, what will you build first? Start your journey today, open up your editor, and write that very first line of code. Thank you for joining me on this explainer, and happy coding.